In Capo 2, I introduced the chord marker. The chord marker is a great tool for helping you learn the chords of a song. Instead of using a pad of paper to write down what you've learned, you can use the chord markers to remember the chords that you've learned. I also added chord detection so that when you drop a chord marker, Capo makes a guess as to the chord that's being played so that you can save a little bit of time and not having to type in every chord as you learn them. In this demonstration, I'm using the song Screwed by Jonathan Coulton. It has a nice intro with just an acoustic guitar, and it's a great demonstration of the chord marker feature. We're going to drop markers at full speed as we're listening to the song. Don't pay any attention to Capo's guesses at this point. You just want to drop chord markers as you're hearing the chord changes in the song. Now that we've got the chord markers dropped, I'm going to see how Capo's guesses were. First, I'm going to make a loop around the first chord, and then I'll play the loop. Now as you can see, Capo guessed a G here, so I'm going to play a G on my guitar and make sure it's the right chord. That's the right chord, so now we can move on. For this second chord, Capo also guessed correctly. This is a C being played. Now if you don't have your guitar nearby, you can also click on the chord entry and you'll hear the chord being played by Capo. The next chord was detected as a C sharp diminished. That's not the correct chord. So what I'm going to do now is figure it out using a combination of the spectrogram and my ear to determine the chord that is being played. When I look over to the spectrogram, I can see the bass note over here is an A2 note. If I click on it and then subsequently play the chord by holding my mouse down on the timeline, you can hear that it kind of matches up. If you want to hear the chord a little better, you can create a loop around the chord and play it that way. And if I click on this note entry, you can hear that that's the correct bass note. Now we can proceed to try different variations of the A chord. After a little trial and error, we'll discover that it's the A7 chord being played here. Now there's another way to determine the correct chord, and that's to scan ahead in the detection. You'll notice over here that an A7 chord was detected in approximately the same spot later on in the intro. By using Capo's chord detection feature, you can get hints from further along in the song when there are misdetected chords elsewhere. Now that we know the correct chord, all we have to do is double-click the chord entry and enter A7. If we hit the return key, the chord marker has changed to indicate the new chord, and if we click on it, we can hear the correct chord. Now all you have to do is learn how to play the chords that you figured out. If there are any particularly difficult chord changes, what you want to do is slow down the music and maybe set up a loop around two chords you're having trouble with. As you get better changing between the two chords, you can speed it up and play through the whole song. As you can see, Capo's new chord marker feature will greatly improve your ability to learn new songs.